Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and it's that time of the week yet again in which I am filled to the brim with food, and I decide to play a game and talk some shit. Nothing crazy, but that's what we do here. So we're playing Dark Souls yet again. I mean, we're always gonna play here what I feel like playing, but I guess the question is, why do I feel like playing Dark Souls? I'm not sure. I guess because I feel like playing Lords of the Fallen, but I have to, record that. I can't play ahead. So this is like the closest thing, I guess. I did say I was gonna do Sunset Overdrive at some point, but I have not purchased it yet. So this is the Dex build that I'm doing, and we got the Great Scythe, which is a pretty decent weapon. We're gonna go upgrade it. I got plenty of stuff, I think, to talk about today. It's just a matter of remembering everything I want to talk about. First off, though, if you haven't seen the new movie John Wick, you need to go see it. You need to go see it quick. Like, right now, if you have to. If that's what it takes, just pause the video and go see John Wick. Because Keanu Reeves is a badass motherfucker, especially in that movie. It was amazing. It was quite amazing. So yeah, not much else to say about that. Just it was good. It was very good. Okay, let's see. Well, I guess, I mean, we start with board games generally around here. So I can talk about that. Let me think. Oh, last Sunday. Right, because I generally record these before the actual board game day happens. So I don't get to talk about that board game day. Okay, so this is still boosting my damage by quite a bit. Sure, more damage. Last Sunday was kind of a fail. A lot of people couldn't make it. So it was just me, Ziggy, and his wife. And so I decided to play Lords of Waterdeep. And this is a game I've played a bunch of times on the iPad. And I enjoy it. I was curious how it would work out with physical and with other people and stuff like that. And Ziggy obviously can pretty much handle any sort of gamer's game. But his wife is not the heaviest of gamers, so I was curious how she would handle it. She handled it pretty well because she won, so I think she liked it. And really, when it comes down to it, after you learn the rules, it's a pretty simple worker placement game. There's not a whole lot going on. And I know some people don't really care for it because of that, and I think the expansion adds some meat to it. But as far as the base game goes, we all enjoyed it. It was fun times, even though I lost. And I realized that I really don't care if I win or lose a board game, which is, I think, a good trait to have, especially if you lose a lot. But it's just like, it doesn't mean anything, you know? Like, I guess Because it's like, okay, I lost Lords of Waterdeep. You won. Alright. Like, I feel like I'm not as competitive as I thought I was. It's just, it's worth nothing. So it's like, okay, she won Lords of Waterdeep. We all had fun. What's the problem? I guess that's the key. So I guess I have the right mindset for being a loser at board games. Yeah, so we just played one game of Lords of Waterdeep, and then we played a few games of For Sale with 3 people. I didn't know how that was going to be because I thought it was better with more people, but it's still fun with 3. You know, it's a filler game, definitely, but it's it's a good filler game. I like it. They all liked it. And that was it. That was it. Ziggy and I were gonna play the Battle of 5 Armies that I got for him for his wedding, but then his wife wanted to join us, so we switched. So I'm still waiting to try that out. That should be pretty cool. Let's see, Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. We had a bit of a family game night with me and my mom and my aunt, Mert, and another one of my cousins. So there was 5 of us. And I'm always looking for an excuse to bring out Cosmic Encounter. Like, I don't care what the group is. It's a bunch of 8-year-olds. Fuck it, we're playing Cosmic Encounter. Shut up. But no. It seemed like a game that they could handle. And it was 5 people, so it's perfect. I'm like, yeah, we'll try out Cosmic Encounter. So I started out with the Resistance, Avalon. And I started out because I wanted them to get into the kind of the bluffing mood, the deception mood, you know, just get a little bit of, like a social, you know. Because most people, I mean, social games that people play are stuff like Trivial Pursuit or, you know, Balderdash or something where, yeah, there's talking involved, but it's not anything like Werewolf or The Resistance or something. So I wanted to try it out. So I explained all the rules, of which, you know, there isn't many. I explained how the setup was going to go and whatnot, so on and so forth. And then, I'm trying to remember, this was a few days ago now, I'm trying to remember. I don't have any ranged weapon, that's unfortunate. Maybe if I launch a black fire, no, I got regular fire bombs. Or throwing knife, there we go. Whoa. Ugh. This is possible. God. Ah. Oh my God. Yes! Excellent. Okay. I dealt out all the cards. And went through the basic setup. Everything was going well. I'm like, alright, this is going pretty good for a first time. Like, 4 out of 5 have not played before. And a couple of these people have never played anything remotely like this. Actually, 3 out of the 5. And then, so I nominated myself as the leader for the first quest because I was the only one that knew what was going on. And so I'm like, okay, I need 2 people to go on this first quest. So I picked the most, nip things in the bud right away, and I picked my mom and my aunt. The 2 most clueless people. And so I was like, okay, so we didn't even vote for that first quest. It was just like, yeah, we're doing this. And so I gave them the success and the fail cards, and I'm like, okay, put the card that you don't want to play in the middle, face down. And this always confuses people. And really, I'm not even sure if you have to do it this way. It probably is less confusing if you do it. Just put the card you want to play in the middle, and then we'll handle the discard later. So I'm like, okay, put the card you don't want to play in the middle. If you are a good person, if you are a blue person, this will be your fail card, because you have to succeed on a mission. So I took the cards, shuffled them, put them aside, and I was like, okay, give me the card you want to play. If you're a good guy, this is your success card. I took the 2 cards, shuffled them, and turned them right side up. 2 fail cards. My aunt, I knew for certain, was not a spy, not a bad guy, because I was Merlin, and I saw who was bad. So I was like, alright, start over. And we all proceeded to yell at my aunt for not knowing what the hell was going on. Holy shit. I just one-shotted that thing. Oh my god. I haven't seen that before. So yeah, that was a terrible start. So we went through it all again. We went through the setup, handed out the cards, and then I was going through the basic setup of, you know, bad guys, put your eyes open, blah, blah, blah. And I was a minion of Mordred. I was a bad guy. I opened my eyes. I see 2 sets of eyes staring back at me. Which is not what it should be. So once again, my aunt screwed up. She thought Merlin was a bad guy. She was like, how was I supposed to know Merlin was a good guy? And I'm just like, well, I'm sure there are certain stories where Merlin's a bad guy, but in traditional folklore, he's usually good. Also, his card is bright blue. So that was rough. So we started a 3rd time, and finally we got it going. And I was Merlin. When we went through the game. And the good guys won pretty handily. But then there's the rule for Avalon, which I'm starting to dislike a little bit. Especially with so few people. I think it's a better rule with more people. But with 5, the rule is that if the good guys win, the assassin on the bad guy's side gets to guess who he or she thinks Merlin is on the good guy's team. If he guesses correctly, then the bad guys win. And so with 5 people, you have 2 bad guys, 3 good guys. You have a base 33% chance of just taking the game away from them. And that's kind of bullshit. Because if you can, you know, give yourself any hints, you know, if you have any somewhat of a clue as to who you think Merlin is, you have a pretty good chance. Unless the good guys are, you know, actually really competent and can throw off suspicion and blah, blah, blah. But still, it's a 33% chance of just guessing correctly. Shot in the dark, whatever. So we won pretty easily. And then my mom ended up being the assassin. And she was like, well, how do you have any idea who Merlin is? And I was like, if you have no clue who Merlin is, then he did his job correctly. And she was like, okay, well, I'm just going to guess you. because you're the only one that knows what's going on. And yeah, I was fucking Merlin. It was bullshit. Because, yeah, I'm going to be the one that's talking the most because I have to explain all the rules. I know how the game is played, so of course it seems like I know everything. It just happens that I be Merlin. And me being Merlin didn't really give us the win because the bad guys were newbies. So it was kind of bullshit, but again, I don't really care. So we played again. I was just a regular good guy this time. And, we played through, and the bad guys played just terribly. Like, they offered no resistance on anything. Every single... I mean, I did guess correctly who the good guys were, just kind of luckily, I guess you might say. And so that kind of just steamrolled things. But the bad guys just... They voted, you know, they approved everything. They just went along with everything, and so we won. We got 3 successes right away. And so then it was up to the bad guys to guess who Merlin was. And they were just like, well, it's not Mangg. It can't be Mangg this time. So it's one of you two. I'm like, okay. And so she just guessed, you know, one of the other two, and it was correct. And then that was they won. It was kind of bullshit. I mean, yeah, I should have been putting more suspicion on myself, but it was just like, how could I? There was no... It was just, we steamrolled it. There was no chance for me to be like, I wonder who the bad guys are, because it didn't matter who the bad guys are. We just dominated. So it wasn't the greatest group to play with, and I don't think 5 is the greatest number to play with personally. I like having a few more people in the mix to really start muddling things up. So it wasn't the greatest start. And we moved on then to Cosmic Encounter. And I was curious how this was going to go now. And, so I went through all the rules. And, you know, they all just kind of sat there and listened. And, hold on, I'm fighting the Gaping Dragon. Serious shit. There we go. And so we handed out the aliens and all that, and we went through the alien discussion. And I got to choose between Cryo and the Gambler. Gambler's from the base set, Cryo's from the Cosmic Incursion expansion. And I'll talk about them both because they're cool. Cryo lets you, basically once per encounter, put one of the cards in your hand face down onto the alien sheet in like cold storage. And then if there's 8 cards on the sheet, you exchange your hand with it or something like that. So you get that whole set of cards you put down. So you can either put all your best cards down on the sheet for later, like when you are at 4 out of 5 colonies and you want to make your big final push, you can just take in those 8 cards of goodness. Or you can dump all your shitty cards to get a new hand. And both are kind of viable. And really, I probably should have taken Cryo, because it would have been better. But I ended up taking the Gambler. And the Gambler's more fun, I guess. I like the Gambler. He, basically, when you put down your encounter card, when you're going up against somebody, they have to flip theirs first. So you get to see what they played. And then you get to lie about the card you played. Well, you get the option to. So you can leave your card face down and just say, like, I played an attack 20, or I played a negotiate, or I played a morph. Although you would never bluff about that unless you actually had a morph. But you can lie about whatever, and then they can either accept your lie, and then it plays out as if you had played that, or they can challenge you. And then if you were lying, you lose some ships. If you're telling the truth, they lose some ships. And so it's just kind of really interesting because it involves lying. And so I took that because I was like, these people are not very deceptive. And they're not very perceptive. They're not very anything. So I'm going to take the gambler. Just continue this whole bluffing thing. This is dangerous. There we go. And so we began. Mert and I made an alliance pretty quickly. Just for shits and giggles, really. Ow. And, hopefully I make this jump. Yes. And, we were off to a pretty solid lead, but my other cousin's power, he took the shadow. Which means at the start of every encounter, whoever's color comes up on the Destiny deck, the shadow can remove one of their ships to the warp. Just wherever they want. And so we didn't really think about it. And so when Mert and I's first encounter with each other, we did negotiate. And we did colony for colony, but we only put one ship on each of our places. So he just removed our one ships during the game, so we lost those colonies, and that's a big deal. All that damage, it's so good. Actually, hold on. And so the game went on, and, 3 out of the 5 didn't really know what was going on, but you, in my experience, you pick it up pretty quickly. And, we got to my aunt's encounter. And she had an encounter with me. And so I was like, do you want to negotiate? And so eventually she decided, yeah, she'll negotiate. So we went through the motions. That's actually a terrible attack. Oh, that poor dog ran off. And so we got to the encounter part. She flipped over her card. And she flipped over a negotiate. And I was like, good. Because I had played a negotiate. I was playing on negotiate. But I was like, I want to use this gambler ability. It sounds cool. And so I just said, I played an attack 0. And so, even though it's an attack 0, I played an attack card when she played negotiate, so I would win. So it was up to her to either accept it or call my bluff. So if she called my bluff, basically what would happen was I would have lost like one ship, I think. And then we would have negotiated. Yeah, that's how it would work. I mean, that's what would have happened. Now, in her case, she didn't know if I was telling the truth or not. So if I was telling the truth, she would have lost one ship from somewhere in her colony, and then she would have lost the encounter. But she was the offense. So it would have been terrible. She basically would have lost 2 ships. So she decided to just let it go. So she just accepted it. And she lost the encounter. And I didn't lose anything. I mean, nobody that knew anything about Cosmic Encounter would ever let that happen. Because it's just, that was dumb. And I did it just kind of to be a dick, really. I just wanted to do the gambler thing. Because you're not going to get that many opportunities to do it throughout the game. So I was like, I got to do it. She'll call it out and we'll just negotiate. It'll be fine. I'll lose a ship because I wanted to screw around. But no, she's just like, okay, I'll let it happen. I was like, okay. And, of course, then I flipped over and I revealed that I actually had played to negotiate. And my mom got really pissed at me. Like, she said I'm not sure if she called me a piece of shit. I think she said I was a terrible person. Something like that. And I was like, that's the game. She can call me out? But no, I was a terrible person. So then it went to my encounter. And I had an encounter with my mom. And I was like, do you want to negotiate? And I was like, for real though, I won't pull any bullshit. I swear. And obviously I could be lying about that. But I was like, no, I'm serious this time. And she's like, okay, we can negotiate. Oh god, this thing actually attacks you? I've never come up to it before. God, that's freaky. Fuck that. And so we went through the motions of negotiate. And I had 4 negotiate cards in my hand. I wanted to negotiate. And so we get to the encounter phase and I'm like, okay, we'll just flip at the same time. Because we're going to negotiate. That was a mistake because she flipped over an attack card. Just because she thought I was a terrible person. She wanted to teach me a lesson. I'm like, oh my god. So I automatically lost encounter. If I had seen she was in a... I mean... Yeah, I guess even if I had seen... She wouldn't have believed that I played another attack... Or that I played an attack. So, no, I was screwed either way. My freaking mom calls me a terrible person and then lies to me. It's great. That's Cosmic Encounter, I guess. So, I automatically lost the encounter, but I only put 1 ship in, so I got 1 compensation. And, 1 ship went to the warp. Okay. And so the game went on for a little while. And, I think I was up to... Me and Mert were up to 4 colonies. And my other cousin went on an offensive encounter against Mert, and he invited everybody. This is not what you do, because you're basically losing the game. Because obviously I'm going to join up with you so I can get the win. He wasn't thinking, and he was a new player, so it's a newbie mistake. So, yeah, of course I joined up with him. Mert was pretty pissed because he was on the defense. And so we went, we did the encounter, and it was pretty close. Like, there was a lot of cards being played, a lot of flares, a lot of shit going around. And, my aunt had the Citadel flare that added 5 to the defense. And Mert's just like, so this would make us win the encounter? And she's like, and I'm like, yeah, it would. And he's like, just forget it. And so he threw the game because apparently they had to go. And so I won, but it was like the cheapest, meaningless win that you could get. Like, it didn't mean anything. And so it wasn't great. And so, yeah, the game ended because they didn't have enough time. I was like, if I would have known you had a limited time budget, I would have either started with Cosmic, or I would have just played something different. Because, you know, like, that's 2 games of Cosmic in a row now I've played where the game has just been thrown. And that's not what I'm about. That's not what I want to play. It's kind of bogus. I still freaking love it though. It's amazing, but I want a real game with people that care about winning. So they all liked it though. Well, not all of them, but my aunt and my cousin, they liked it. Even though they seemed, you know, confused and a little disinterested. They were like, you know, I think that's a good game. We should play it again sometime. I'm like, okay. I will never turn down a game of Cosmic Encounter. My mom did not care for it. She said it was dull. It's not dull, but it's not gonna have a perfect, you know, like ratio. I know there are people that are not going to like Cosmic Encounter. That's fine. And yeah, my mom is probably the type of person... Like, she probably felt bad that she pulled such a horrible maneuver on her son. And, yeah, she should feel bad. But yeah, it was cool. I like the Gambler. I would play again as him. Okay. So that was that board game night, which was not incredible, but anytime I get to bust out Cosmic is good. Let's see. Friday... Yeah, Friday I got a few board games in that I purchased, because I like purchasing. I got Bonanza, which is Uwe Rosenberg's first game, interestingly enough. He's the guy that's done Agricola, Le Havre, Caverna, stuff like that. He's a pretty big Euro guy. And so Bonanza is his first game, and I've always heard of it talked in a positive manner, and it plays up to like 7, and it seems like a fun trading game. So I was like, sure, I'll pick it up. That's probably good for a family game night. Then I got Tichu, which is a Chinese card game. And, ooh, that does not do as much damage as I thought. Yeah, so Tichu is a four-player card game. 2 teams of 2. Like, it plays up to 10, but everything I have read has just said it is a 4-player card game. That is it. So, I believe it. And, a number of members of my family are big fans of a card game that 98% of you have probably never heard of. It's called Sheep's Head, or traditionally Schafskopf. And it's a trick-taking card game that is complicated to learn. And it's fun. I'm not going to say it's not fun. You know, it's an old-school card game. But last vacation I went on, we played it like every night for hours because I didn't have many board games. I brought Battlestar Galactica. That's what I brought. And they were not interested. they wanted Sheep's Head. And so that was a fun card game. But I wanted something a bit... I was like, there's got to be better games than Sheep's Head. Sheep's Head is old. I'm Cult of the New. There's got to be something better. And so I don't even know how old Tichu is. It might be older. But it's very well received, whereas Sheep's Head not many people play outside of Wisconsin. So I was like, alright, let's check out Tichu. And so... that was a really easy Quelaag, by the way. I haven't played it yet. Some sort of family game night when it's just 4 of us. Like it's one of those games where if I have family members, you know, the family members that like Sheep's Head, and there's 4 of us, exactly 4, then I will bust out Tichu. But it's got to be a specific situation. But apparently, if you have 4 and you have people that like card games, it is the end-all be-all. So we'll see. I also bought Time's Up Total Recall, or Time's Up Title Recall. That's what it is. Total Recall is a movie. Title Recall. And I wanted kind of a social party game that was one of those kind of more traditional, I guess. You know, something like Pictionary or Charades or something like that. And Telestrations was on my list. But I went for Time's Up because Tom Vassell talks about it quite a bit as his favorite party game. And on Board Game Geek, I think it's like number 2 or 3 for party games. I was like, it's gotta be pretty good. And as I understand it, it's a team game. And the cards all have the kind of traditional stuff. But a Title Recall has all books and movies and shows and stuff like that. And it's played over 3 rounds. So the first round you can give pretty much any clue you want. You can use as many words, and you know your team gets as many guesses. Unlimited guesses. And so you might have, you know, Robinson Crusoe. And you can say whatever clues you want. You can't say, hey, it's Robinson Crusoe. But however many words and clues, whatever. And then the second round, you can only use 1 word. Which makes it quite a bit trickier. And then the third round, you can't use any words. Which makes it really tricky. And so, the thing is, though, like, you get the set of cards at the start for what your titles are. So Robinson Crusoe will be, like, in the first set of cards, or in the set of cards you have. So you'll do it during the first round. And then, for the second round, you'll go through the same set of cards. So Robinson Crusoe will come up again. And then again during the third round. So you need to make some kind of association during the first couple rounds with Robinson Crusoe, so that during the third round you can just do like a gesture, and they'll know what it is. That was terrible. I don't know what it would be for Robinson Crusoe. Don't ask me now, but so if you need to associate like a gesture with your clue during like the second round, so then the third round they can pick up on it. Because without, you know, just going in blind with only gestures is tricky. I mean, I think that's what charades is, but you need to kind of burn through your set of cards. So you're trying to do it pretty quickly. So yeah, we'll see how that is. Because I have Say Anything, which I picked up after seeing the tabletop episode. But I figure that is more of a kind of inappropriate game. Like, whenever I think about it, I just think about how filthy you can be playing that game. And I was like, that's not really a family thing. I don't see it working. So I wanted something a bit more family friendly. And then I picked up the granddaddy, the big papa. Picked up Twilight Imperium 3rd edition. My God in heaven, that box is gigantic. It is so glorious. It's tremendous. I can't, like, I bought it partly just to sit on my shelf, and it does not disappoint. It exceeded my expectations of what it would look like sitting on my shelf. And then on the front of the box, it like says Pax Magnificio Bellum Glorioso or something like that. Which is Latin. And I'm not entirely sure what it translates to. It's something like peace, magnificent peace, glorious war, or something like that. And I was like, this box, man. And so then I spent some time unpacking it. Fudge. And unpacking it is, oh boy, it's a process. It's a process. There are God, they hurt. Fudge! I knew that was gonna happen. Once you get toxic, it's just GG. There are 360 plastic ships included in the box. Maybe 358 or something like that, but close. Whatever. 350, whatever. And they are all, every single one, on sprues. And if you don't buy many board games or miniatures, tabletop wargaming, whatever, you might not know what sprues are. They are shit. They are absolutely terrible. And I haven't dealt with many in my life because I'm kind of new to all this and it's not really a popular thing now. But basically they're like plastic sets. I don't even know how to really describe it. Like every ship is connected with plastic to like a grid. And so you basically need to cut off each one. Hard plastic. You need to cut off each one from the grid so it can separate. So there's a lot of cutting plastic involved. 350 ships. It took me like 4 hours. Partly because I did not have the right tools and I'm new to this. And it was terrible. It was just terrible. Like, we have, somewhere in this home, we have like a copper wire cutter, which is all I really needed. And I didn't have it. All I had was my X-Acto knife. And it's shitty and kind of worn down. And, oh God. Never again will I do such a thing. God, these things are terrible. Yeah! So yeah, it took me like 4 hours, and I was watching movies during it, but still, it's not pleasant. It's not a pleasant activity. I didn't enjoy it. And then there's like 200 cardboard pieces you gotta punch out and organize. And that was better, but still. Just massive, man. And so now everything is unpacked, but now I have to read the 44-page rulebook and learn how to play this beast of a game that I'll probably never get to play in my life. But goddamn if I ever do. It looks glorious. There's 60 cards just for political agendas. In a game of epic space combat and exploration, there's 60 cards just for political agendas. And I was like, my God. Then there's the trading, there's, you know, there's exploration, there's like resource management, there's technology trees, there's... Holy shit, man. If I ever get to play. Which seems to be most people's problem with Twilight Imperium. Because it's like, I'm always the rules explainer. And so normally it's not a huge deal, you know. Like, okay, I'll explain how to play the Resistance. I'll explain how to play Lords of Waterdeep. You know, you can just kind of come in blind and I'll tell you how to play. It might take you a few games to understand everything, but okay. But then, Twilight Imperium, it's like, this rules explanation is going to take 2 hours. And you're probably not going to know shit after it's done. These people are not going to go online and watch like a video tutorial, which is what they should do, because that's probably what I'm going to do, in addition to reading the entire rulebook. Crazy. Man, 47 minutes in. I guess I should move on. Friday night, I hung out with Ziggy quite a bit. He came over. He made his D&D character for the campaign that we're doing, the 5th edition stuff. He made a wizard, and that took quite a while because there's a whole bunch of spells. I talked about in the video about all the cool spells. So, you know, when you're making a new wizard, you want to read about all these spells and stuff. So that took a while. And then after that, we played a game of X-Wing with all the new ships I got, and I actually recorded it for maybe like doing like a time-lapse video, which I'm gonna see if I can edit something together and put that together sometime for you guys. It might be cool. I don't know how it recorded or how it'll look, but hopefully it turns out cool. And then we went to go see Saw. The original Saw was back in theaters for 1 week, starting Halloween. And that was our tradition for a long time, was, you know, it's Halloween, gotta go see Saw. So that was really cool, especially since Saw, the first Saw, is a classic. There wasn't that many people in the theater, but there was a few. And it's still a classic. And then today, for board games, we're not doing anything. Too many people are busy. They need to get their shit together. I'm not busy. You don't see me doing shit. But I might try out Castles of Burgundy later with my mom or something. And that's pretty much all the board game discussion, I think. So as far as real life stuff goes then, well, okay, we can talk about Tinder, I guess. I've gotten, I think, 5 matches since last Sunday, which is not many. Not many, guys. Which is, concerning, I guess. It's not great. But not much I can do about it. I think, yeah, like 4 out of the 5 were pretty much bogus. either prostitutes or spam bots or something like that. One of them gave me a phone number to text, and I was like, I wonder if I text this, I'll get another naked photo. But I decided against it. I have enough viruses already. One of them seemed actually legit. As in, she had multiple pictures, she had a profile description, and we had a shared interest in Vin Diesel. So I was like, this is probably real. I have yet to see one of those fake accounts that has a shared interest. When does this stop going up? I just keep putting points into it. And so then I looked, and she is 45 miles away from me, which is a long way. And I have my radius set at 30 miles. So I was like, what is this shit? What is this sorcery you have done? And so I messaged her about that, and I never got a response, so I don't know. Probably one of those girls that just swipes right for every single person on Tinder. So that's nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, you need it.
As far as Tinder goes. I mean, you know, I'm gonna keep at it, but not holding out much expectations for that. Last night we went to Applebee's, and we went there at like 9:30, which was pretty early, so I figured, you know, they were gonna just pull an early night. We didn't pull an early night. We stayed there for 4.5 hours. Because it was daylight savings time. It was ending. So when it went from 1:59 to 2, instead it was going to go back to 1 a.m. So we were like, oh, it's got to be open another hour then, right? So we stayed the entire time just to see. And no, they closed at 1, I guess. So that was really bullshit. But the other guys got really intoxicated. So we ended up talking to a lot of people at Applebee's. Like a bunch of the staff and then a few customers. We were just chatting around with. So that was interesting. And you know, the Applebee's the chick that I'm acquainted with, she was working there that whole night. And you know, it's a tiny bit awkward, I guess. But it's just kind of like, you know, she just works and I just sit there with my friends, and then she never serves me or anything, so there's not much interaction. You know, I occasionally glance in her direction, but it's a cute girl, so sue me. Is that illegal in this country? I don't know. Maybe. So yeah, it's not really... It's whatever, I guess. But at one point, later on in the night, Studs was pretty drunk. And he was yelling over to the bartender about something. Something about our reputation at that Applebee's. And so then he yells out to the chick. He calls out her name like 3 times. And as soon as he says it the first time, I just stare at my hands and I don't look up. And it took me straight back to high school. Just, okay, now it's awkward. It just got awkward. What the fuck is he gonna say? I don't want anything to do. I don't want to be here right now. That was bad. So he called her name out like 3 times. I was like, she wants nothing to do with this. Finally, though, she responds. She's like, what? And he yells back, aren't we the worst? And I'm like, oh, God. And so here I had to look up. I couldn't resist. I had to look up and see what she was gonna do. And she was like cleaning a glass or something, and she just said, she didn't look over in our direction. She just looked at her glass and she said, "Oh yeah, definitely." But she said it with such a level of sarcasm. So much sarcasm packed into 3 words that it became no longer sarcastic. It surpassed the sarcasm limit for that sentence. So it wasn't sarcastic at all. It was entirely honest, but like, I don't know what, she super condensed it or something. I don't know what she did with those words in that tone. It was incredible. Just, oh yeah, definitely. And I can't say it anywhere near like how she said it. It was incredible. But I was like, this girl hates everything about all of our existences. It was masterfully. I would have applauded if it wouldn't have been really awkward with how she pulled off that sentence. And then that was it. And she just kind of like went away. And I was like, oh man. I mean, I'm glad that's all he said, but what a masterful response. Very impressive. And so yeah, you know. God. Yeah, so that's about that for Applebee's. You know what? I like going there just if it makes her feel uncomfortable. 'Cause fuck her. That's what she should get. Is feel uncomfortable once a week. By our presence. Or my presence, whatever. Yeah. I think it's close to being it. Not really much else. Shit. As far as the channel goes, Lords of the Fallen will continue. Arkham Horror will continue once I get around to it. I'll try to put up that X-Wing video. There will be a Call of Duty video probably tomorrow. I'll give you forewarning. It's just kind of tradition at this point that I put up a video of my first game. So feel free to not watch it all. I don't mind. I know that that's not what this channel's about, but I feel like it's tradition. I got to do it. So it'll be up there, but that'll probably be all the Call of Duty content that goes up. For those that are not aware, which may be a few people, because really, if you don't follow me on Twitter or Facebook, you might not know if you're not subscribed to my other channel. But on my old channel, Mangg, I put up a Mangg's movie on Halloween. And I put it up on the old channel because I don't want any copyright infringement, whatever, on this channel. So I'll put a link in the description to that Mangg's movie if you didn't know about it. But please watch it because it tortures my soul whenever I have to make them. And really, even if every one of my fans watched it, it's still not really worth it. Like, it just, really, the few views that I get only serve to dishearten me from making more. And I know the people that do like them enjoy them quite a bit, but it's terrible, man. There will probably be one more Mangg's movie before the end of the year, but I won't say what it is. I know we're at the hour mark, but I want to talk about this before, because I'll probably never mention it again. But there was a time, very few people probably know about this, but there was a time when I actually got paid to make Mang's movies. For a while, you may have noticed that during the title intro, at the bottom, it said, like, presented by a mortgage company. And I think I mentioned at one point I was sponsored, but I didn't elaborate. And that came about because, well, I was playing Guild Wars 2 when that came out, and I got messaged by some random guys like, "Is this Mangg from Game Anyone?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so we started chatting. He joined our guild and so forth. And he was a cool guy, and he worked for a mortgage company. And he used to be, like, a Marine, and he was part of, like, Blackwater or some cool, you know, mercenary shit. I don't know what it was. PMC craziness. So he was kind of hardcore, but he worked for a mortgage company now. And so he really loved my stuff. He told me about how he would just sit in his office all day and laugh his ass off in my videos. And I was like, okay, cool. And so then he's like... I don't. This was a long time ago. I don't remember the exact conversation, but I think he asked if I ever thought about getting sponsored. I'm like, that's. I don't have enough viewers. That's not really an option. He's like, well, you know, I could definitely, you know, throw some money in there to sponsor you if it would help you, you know, make some more videos, some Mang's movies. And I'm like, I guess I'd have to think about it. And so he threw down a number then. I don't know if this is polite to talk about, but fuck it. I'm Mangg, goddammit. He's like, I would definitely give like $500 a month for something like that. And I'm like, wow. Holy shit. And I initially declined. I thought I was the coolest person ever. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to sell out for that kind of money. I'm too cool for that. So I told him, it's like, I'm going to have to decline. I feel like I'd be selling out. He's like, all right. And so I talked about it with some family members, and they're like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I'm like, you know what? You're right. It pays the bills, damn it. So I went back. I'm like, yeah, actually, you know, it sounds pretty sweet. He's like, all right, I'll get it set up. And then we talked about, like, he was going to talk to his marketing, you know, team, and they were going to send me some promotional materials and stuff. And so I made some Mang's movies, and I put the logo on there, and yeah, sure enough, I got $500 in my PayPal account, and I was like, God damn, I'm living the dream. And it was really cool. And then, like, the next month, I think I didn't hear from him a great deal. And so I think I had to email him a couple times to be like, hey, are you still there? Like, you know, the month went by and I didn't get any money, so is this still going on? And it took him like a week or something into the next month, and finally he got back to me and sent me the money. I was like, all right, cool. And then after that, I pretty much never heard from him again. I emailed him a bunch of times. I had him on Skype. He even offered me his Netflix account to use, which was really strange. He's like, hey, Netflix has a whole bunch of shitty movies. You know, if you need an account, here's some info. And it wasn't even his name. Like, it was somebody else's name. And I'm like, I was just like, okay, cool. And I still don't have a Netflix account. I don't care for it, but I never used it. So I was just like, okay, cool. And, yeah, so I never heard from him again. No more money, nothing. I see him on Skype, but he changed his name on Skype. Like, he changed his actual real name. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like something happened with, like, some Iraqis that had a grudge when he was in Blackwater or whatever. Like, I don't know. He seemed so shady, but I got $1,000 from him, so I don't know. So yeah, that was that's the story of how I got paid to do some Mang's movies. None of you probably knew about that, but it's a fun little story from my past that I can talk about. So if anybody else out there wants to pay me $500 to make Mang's movies, I will do it. That would be the condition. Because otherwise it's not worth sacrificing my soul for. But money, hell yeah. All right. I think we have talked for long enough. I've given you plenty of things to comment on. So you can comment away, my friends. I'll think about getting Sunset Overdrive. I don't know. I got Call of Duty. I got the WoW expansion coming out. Lords of the Fallen. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There's more games coming out. We'll see. But, anyways, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. I'll see you fine folks next week.